Welcome to the Red Devil Cooking Project, coming straight from Central High's culinary program in the Central High kitchen. Today, we're going to make two different dishes. We're going to make our mac and cheese, which we're actually pretty well known for. We do it a lot for a lot of our banquets and caterings and things like that. And also, we're going to make a dish called chicken balsamico, which is a pan-seared chicken breast with a balsamic reduction. It's a really nice dish, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So we're going to actually go ahead and start with the balsamico. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pan nice and hot. And while that pan is warming up, we're actually going to take some flour. We're going to add some salt to it. And we're going to add some dried basil to it. And what we're creating is what we call seasoned flour. I'm going to take our chicken breasts. These are 6-ounce breasts. They're boneless and skinless. And what we're going to do, we're going to dredge these in flour. That means we're going to dip them in flour and shake off the excess flour. So when we cook these, it'll make a nice crust and it'll help seal in the moisture. So I'm going to go ahead and take my gloves off for a second. We're going to take our olive oil. And put a little bit of oil in that pan. Let that get nice and hot. Then we're going to sear off our chicken breasts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sear them off about a minute or two on each side, and then we're going to put them in the oven for a few minutes. I like doing that because when you cook something all the way in a pan, sometimes it has a tendency of drying out and even burning. So we're just going to kind of sear these, give them a nice color, a nice golden brown crust, and then we're going to finish them in the oven. It's just about there. Now, what we're going to do with this pan, once the chicken comes out, we're going to use the same pan to do our reduction. It's balsamic vinegar, brown sugar, and then some cherries. And it makes a really nice glaze for our dish. While that's going on, we're also going to be cooking some haricots verts, which are French green beans. They're really tiny green beans. They're thin, but they have a lot of flavor. They're really crisp, and they'll go really well with this dish that we're doing. So I believe that our chicken is about ready to be seared. This pan should be nice and hot. We're going to put it away from us. So if the grease splatters, it's going to splatter away from us and not towards us. You can hear that sizzle. This chicken is just about where we want it to be. Now what I'm going to do is, a lot of times when people cook, especially in saute pans and skillets, when they flip things over, it's tendency to having the grease splatter and getting all over them and burning themselves. There's a nice little trick for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up the pan so all the excess grease collects at the bottom, and then I'm going to flip my protein item right back towards me so there's no splatter anywhere. As you can see, that chicken has a beautiful color, it has a beautiful crust to it. So we're going to let that go for a few more minutes, maybe 2. Then we're going to finish these in the oven. All right. So now I'm going to pull these off the heat for a second. I'm going to move my pan just for 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the oven. I'm going to set our timer for about 7 minutes. So now we're going to come back. We're actually going to use 2 skillets. First one was the pan that we used to sear our chicken breast. The next one, we're going to saute our haricots verts, our French green beans. Again, just a little bit of olive oil. Now that pan with the chicken breast is still nice and hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add close to about 4 to 6 ounces, about a half a cup of balsamic vinegar. What I want that to do is I want that to reduce. And it's going to form a nice thick sauce. But while that's reducing, I'm also going to add a little bit of brown sugar just to kind of counterbalance the tartness of the vinegar. And I'm going to also add our cherries. You got just a pinch of salt. And that cherry and balsamic vinegar, they really pair up well. So it's going to have a really nice flavor to this dish. So, going to go ahead and add our beans. We're going to go ahead and season that up a little bit. If you notice, I've seasoned from about 6 to 10 inches above, and I want to make sure it's all covered. Make sure everything has a nice bite to it. All right, so now we're going to go ahead, while these beans are starting to heat up and our sauce is reducing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dice up a tomato. And I'm going to add that to the beans. Gives it a nice color and a nice flavor. I'm going to kind of give these a medium-sized dice. Remember, tomatoes are a large percent water, so they're going to reduce in size as it cooks. Water will evaporate. So I'm going to do, we'll go ahead and add our tomatoes to the green beans. Now, if you look at our sauce, it's just about reduced. We're going to let it go for maybe another minute tops. I don't want it to reduce so much that it burns. All right, so the sauce is just about done. The beans, we're going to kick up the heat just a little bit. All right, our sauce is done. So we're going to go ahead and cut the heat. I don't want it to keep cooking and burning. So we're going to remove that. And let these beans cook for a couple more minutes. I like my green beans green, not beige. So I want to still make sure they are al dente, is what we would say. There's a slight resistance when you bite into it. I don't want mush. Haricot vert should have a bite to them. It should be on the crisp side. So our beans have got maybe another minute or two, and they should be ready to go. Our sauce is done. Our chicken breast should be done in about 2 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and check it in a second. And once that's ready, we're going to put this dish together. All right, those are done. Sauce is ready. So let's go ahead and check our chicken breasts. All right, so we're pulling our chicken breasts out. We've temped them. They're about 160. By the time we plate up our dish, it's going to be 165. There's a process called carryover cooking. So it'll raise up a little bit, but we'll be fine. So we're going to take our plate. This is kind of a rustic presentation. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put our beans on the plate. We're just kind of spread them out a little bit. going to take our chicken breasts. We're going to go ahead and put them right in the center. Kind of cross them just a little bit. I'm going to wipe the rim of this plate a little. Now we're going to take our sauce, that balsamic brown sugar reduction that had the cherries in it. And what we're going to spoon some of the sauce on here. There should be a beautiful glaze. I'm going to hit it with just a little parsley on top. And there you go, chicken balsamico. So our next dish is a recipe that we get a lot of requests for. We do this for most of our caterings. Most of our menu items have mac and cheese on it, the entree portion anyway. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to show you how to make our mac and cheese. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my burner on. And I'm going to put a pan on here. Now as we make this dish, you're going to be surprised at how easy it is to make. What we're going to do is we're going to take some heavy cream. We're going to add that to our skillet. And we are literally just going to let this boil and reduce. We're going to have the water boil out of it. And as the water evaporates, the cream gets thicker. Now you have to be careful because cream will boil over. The reason is there's such a high fat content in heavy cream that when the air hits it, it forms almost like a pudding skin. And as it boils, it can't break that skin. So the pressure and the steam have to go somewhere. So they push the skin up, and that's what causes the cream to boil over. So we don't want to walk away, all right? What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and season this. We're going to add some granulated garlic. We're going to add some kosher salt. Now you can already see the cream is starting to boil. So that's a good thing. We're going to let this boil and we want it to reduce. And as it reduces, it's going to thicken. That's what we're looking for. Now, we're not going to let it thicken all the way just through reduction, but we're also going to add 3 kinds of cheese to this. There it goes. Now we use penne pasta for our mac and cheese. We don't use elbow macaroni. I like the bigger pieces of pasta. Now you can see the cream is starting to go, which is what we want. Though I'm not going to walk away though because I don't want it to boil over. So it looks like it's not going to hit the rim. That's a good thing. Now the penne pasta we cooked for 9 minutes, and then what we called shocked it, meaning we took the pasta that was in the boiling water, we strained it, then we put it in ice water to stop the cooking process. 9 minutes is enough time because we're recooking this in a sense inside the sauce itself. So we don't want it to make mush. Again, we want that term al dente. We want a slight resistance to the bite. Al dente means to the tooth in Italian. So I'm going to stir this a little bit just so it doesn't boil over. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and add our cheeses. We're going to add a half cup of Parmesan. We're going to add approximately half a cup of white cheddar. I want to save a little bit for later. We're also going to add about 3 ounces of yellow cheddar. Again, I want to save some for later. And we add bacon to our mac and cheese. So we're going to go ahead and stir this cheese in there. Now you can tell it almost instantly thickened our sauce, which is what we wanted. So now I'm going to go ahead and add our pasta. What I'm going to do is go ahead and toss this a little bit. I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit. Don't want it to burn. Now, pasta is a starch, and like most starches, they're like sponges. And what I mean by that is, when you add your pasta to the sauce, it's going to absorb a lot of it. It's the same principle when you put noodles in a chicken noodle soup. You put too many noodles in there, all of a sudden it becomes like oatmeal versus a soup. So we have to be real careful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this around just a little bit more because I want to kind of reheat the pasta. Tell you what, you can smell it from here and it smells really good. Alright, so what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the white cheddar. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the yellow cheddar. Kind of sprinkle around to make sure it's nice and coated and evenly covered. And then we're going to finish this in our broiler. Now this broiler, when it's really, really going, it's about 600 degrees. It's incredibly hot. So we want to be careful not to scorch this dish. Not quite. I want this cheese to be thoroughly melted, not quite a crust formed, but I just want that melted layer on top. Makes for a beautiful presentation and great flavor. There you go. That's what we're looking for right there. So all we're going to do at this point, we're going to go ahead and just slide this right onto our plate. We're going to sprinkle just a little bit of parsley on top for garnish. And there you have it. Central High School's mac and cheese. First of all, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate it. Again, our Central High School mac and cheese that we're sort of known for, penne pasta is what we use instead of elbow macaroni. I just like the way it presents. Heavy cream, 3 kinds of cheese, the shredded white cheddar, shredded yellow cheddar, and Parmesan. The chicken balsamico, pan-seared chicken breast with the balsamic reduction, a little bit of brown sugar, some fresh cherries, and then the haricot vert, the French-style green beans, the really thin green beans. Really makes for a nice presentation. But I tell you what, to me, this is a meal fit for a king. So until next time, thank you again for joining us.